Well, Sabbath greetings to everyone. This video is being posted a little bit later Friday evening than I usually post. Time's just gotten away from me after coming back from such a tremendous conference. Had quite a number of things I needed to accomplish today, and so I'm getting this recorded a little bit later than I wanted to. But I hope you've had a great week. It's been just like I said, a tremendous week. Because we spent it in Charlotte, there's so many highlights. I can't begin to cover all the highlights here, but I can't even begin to explain the amount of unity and faithfulness of everyone there. It was just, God's Spirit was present with such power. I wish you all could have been there. It would have been tremendous, but we did get the opportunity to cover a whole lot of information. It was a lot of information and encouragement and everything else, and you'll be hearing more about that in the weeks to come. I plan on covering quite a number of those topics in a Bible study coming up, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And so you can watch your announcements and things like that, and we'll be announcing a Bible study where I would like to cover quite a number of things that were covered at the conference, so that you can be aware of those things. And obviously, probably won't even get done. Certainly couldn't get done in one Bible study, but in the weeks ahead, you'll be hearing more in sermons and Bible studies and things of that nature. So I just wanted to mention again how tremendous it was. There's just, I hope we're all really giving thanks to God. Those of us who are really a part of the living church of God, the work of God, the one that is going forward without apology to preach the gospel message, the true gospel message. There's so much, unfortunately, it's really kind of ridiculous confusion that's going on about what the gospel is, what the true gospel is. There isn't a big controversy here. I'll tell you what there is, though. There are those who would put forth so much effort and so many resources. If some of these folks would put just half of the effort and half of the resources into trying to do something constructive, something beneficial to society, rather than try and pick off people from the other churches of God, and specifically from the living church of God, coincidentally, the one that is bearing fruit, growing, persevering, making inroads, doing powerful things across the world. And it's going to be made clear eventually here who's doing the work and where Jesus Christ is truly leading in that way, and as far as the work of God goes. And so, it boggles my mind, and it is interesting, though, that some people get caught up in it, and perhaps they're new, perhaps their foundation isn't strong enough, and these ideas come along, and we try to serve them and help them, and for whatever reason, they're just not able to sift through. And unfortunately, they're trying to sift through all of the junk, all the garbage that is out there on the internet. It is just just yucky, in my opinion. I go out there and I have to look up some of these things and stay informed about what is out there, and I just end up feeling dirty after I go through some of these other websites where their whole purpose, in Revelation 12. Here's what their purpose is. It's just amazing to me, the spirit and the attitude. And brethren, if we can just look at everything from that point of view, what is the spirit and the attitude behind some of these individuals that are working to try and undermine the work of God? And you know what's going to happen? They're not going to undermine the very work of the living God. They're going to come to nothing eventually. We're going to be strong. We're going to continue to preach the gospel. We're going to continue to do the work of God unapologetically, and we're going to do it with all of our hearts. For as long as God gives us the opportunity and the ability to do so, we're going to go through the open doors. In Revelation 12, let's see, here it is, verse 10. Revelation 12 and verse 10. Verse 9 is where it says that Satan the devil deceives the whole world. That time is coming. He's going to be cast down. He's going to be angry. He's working right now to deceive the whole world. And there's coming a time now when he says, Then I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ have come, for the accuser of our brethren, who accused them before our God day and night, has been cast down. That's describing Satan, the devil. That's his spirit. That's his attitude. That's his approach. That's what he's doing. That's what he's all about. That's his M.O. His modus operandi is to accuse and to point the finger and to try and undermine what the great God is doing and what the brethren are doing. The accuser of the brethren, the real, true brethren, trying to stay faithful to what? Faithful to what? Faithful to the truth. Faithful to the truth. The faith that was once for all delivered to the saints. The very truth that we've been called into. The very knowledge of the kingdom of God. And there's a king in that kingdom. Jesus Christ is coming to rule. And you know, for those of you who have heard my sermon in the area on building on the true foundation, this will be a little bit of repetition. I haven't gotten around to all the areas with that sermon yet, but you'll hear it. In 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 11, it'd do well for us to review these things from time to time. For no other foundation can anyone lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the very foundation. And unfortunately, we see out there today in the greater church of God, or whatever you want to call it, there are some who are trying to build on a different foundation. Yes, the apostles and the prophets were a type of foundation in their time, trying to prepare the way for the only true foundation, Jesus Christ. There is no other foundation. Of course, Herbert Armstrong was an apostle. We believe that. We love him. We respect him for everything he did. And it's ridiculous to say otherwise. But he's not the foundation. So many people are trying to build their foundation on a false foundation. The only foundation is Jesus Christ. That's the only one. That's what we have to be building on. And there's so much confusion. And so, because of what? The accuser of the brethren. Who's accusing and accusing who? The threatening, the threat. Satan the devil goes after those that are threatening to do a powerful, magnificent, awesome work on the earth. This is not the work of man. This is the work of the living God. We don't claim to be doing this work. That's why we know it's going to continue to prosper and to go forward for as long as God intends for it to, until we can preach the gospel all around the world in a way that satisfies Him and His greater will and His purpose and His plan. And then that work will be cut off. But only then. Right now there is still a work to be done, and He's still opening some magnificent doors. And we'll talk more about that in the weeks ahead. But there are things that are opening up to this work that are just phenomenal. Jesus Christ is working. He is here. He is working in the church of God. And God the Father is still calling. He is still drawing individuals. And so let's keep the faith. Be faithful. Be strong. Be courageous. And don't give in to those that are accusing and accusing. The one thing I always try to remind people is you can look from the home page until you're blue in the face. You can search our websites, all of them. And you know how many accusatory things you will find? Zero. It's not there. We're not taking the bait. We will not take that bait. We're going to go forward with faith. We're going to go forward with zeal. And we're going to do this work. And how encouraging it is to be a part of it if we can stay strong, if we don't give in to the evil one. And give in to the way that, that's just it's a false, it's a wrong spirit, satanic spirit that is working and trying to undermine the work of God. That's a dangerous place to be. But it's an exciting place to be in the church of God, be working to preach the gospel all around the world as a witness. And so I hope you all keep these things in mind, stay strong, be faithful, build on the only true foundation. That foundation is Jesus Christ. We have to live and walk by the example that He set. And never ever lose sight of the reason we've been born, the calling that we have. What a tremendous calling it is. We can't let anyone take our crown. And unfortunately, knowing we're in a war, we're in warfare, spiritual warfare. There are always casualties of war. We don't want to be a casualty in this war. We want to be those that are faithful and endure to the end. So I challenge you, brethren, build on the only true foundation with, those precious stones, those things that only get stronger through tests and trials. Not with wood, hay, and straw, as we read there in 1 Corinthians 3. It just burns up. We want to be strong in the faith and courageous and do those things for which we have been born and fulfill our calling. It'll be a magnificent time if we can endure. But it's going to get more difficult. So I hope we can stand strong. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to serve you. Please let me know if you have questions or if anything that you need. Please let me know. We've got to be very cautious of all of these things that are out there all around us. Those that are trying to undermine the very work of the living God. I love you all, brethren. I do with all my heart. And I hope you have a magnificent Sabbath. Be careful. Be faithful. Love each other. We'll see you all in the Dells. We're looking very much forward to being in Wisconsin Dells for the Sabbath. And in the other areas, have a great Sabbath, and we'll see you in the weeks ahead. We love you all. Take care.